How's it going, everybody? I'm Andrew Robson, and you are watching RAKUYO's Deciduous Bonsai channel. On today's episode, I'm going to give you a very important tip on when you can stop pruning your deciduous trees in summer and in the growing season. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this very important tip on summer deciduous pruning. All right, so I'm here in my studio in Portland, Oregon, and I just finished pruning back or trimming back this European birch. This birch tree is one of my favorite trees in the garden. It's probably one of the oldest birch bonsai in North America. It's about 40 years old as a bonsai. And it's got a really wonderful aged trunk, really interesting silhouette. Another few years of work. I'm hoping to bring this to a future Pacific Bonsai Expo or national show to show off and feature it because it's a species that I love here at RAKUYO. But it brought up a really important point while I was trimming this, and that is, when can you finish pruning your deciduous trees in the growing season? Now, it's something that I teach here in my intensive classes because I always get a lot of students asking about the timing for pruning, but it's not something that I ever hear talked about in the bonsai community. And remember, the bonsai community is so conifer oriented that most of our major bonsai professionals here in the United States and abroad, even in Japan, are conifer focused. In fact, in Japan, they even call deciduous trees zoki, or miscellaneous, because if it's not a pine or a juniper, it's an other. It's a miscellaneous species. And so here at RAKUYO, we've been championing deciduous trees. I'm so happy that this movement that we're creating is putting a lot more outstanding deciduous trees and passion into our shows, into our communities, and into our bonsai collections, your bonsai collections at home. But again, there's still a lot of knowledge that hasn't really been shared, and that's really the goal of this channel. And so, getting back to the topic, when can we do that final cut on our deciduous trees? The answer is, it depends on your location. It depends on your climate. Here in Portland, Oregon, I live in the Willamette Valley, which is one of the best places to grow bonsai in all of North America. That's why I live here. Here in the Willamette Valley, we have up until about the first week of August to where we can safely prune deciduous trees. Now, what do I mean safely prune deciduous trees? I mean that the first week of August, if I cut something around that time, then it has enough time to regrow an extension, to lignify that extension, to set buds and kind of harden off before the cold weather comes and the tree shifts into dormancy in the fall. And that typically is around the first week of November. So about 2 months or 8 weeks ahead of when your trees turn into fall color, when your first kind of frost date is, somewhere around that time. About 8 weeks before that, 2 months before that is the ideal time to stop pruning your deciduous trees in the growing season. So here in Portland, Oregon, like I said, I will prune, I will defoliate, I will trim all the way up until the first week of August. And then after that date, I will stop trimming, I'll stop pruning, I'll stop defoliating, and I'll let my trees kind of grow freely until the fall. And then we can go back and do some, the last kind of trimming and cut back and pruning in the year, in the fall, once they've turned these beautiful fall colors and the leaves have fallen off. That's a great time to kind of wrap up your pruning for the year. But this is our last opportunity to prune during the growing season. And like I said, with this beautiful birch tree, I just cut it back about 2 weeks before that deadline. So it should have ample time to put out one more flush of growth and have that growth harden off, set buds, create nice foliage to turn fall color later in the year, and to just set itself up well for dormancy. So now, if you don't live in Portland, Oregon, the first week of August is my time. But if you live somewhere that's much warmer than where I'm at, then maybe later into the year, maybe late August or even early September might be a time frame for you. If you live in a colder climate or location than Portland, Oregon, then perhaps even earlier, maybe the last week of July. or even mid-July, if you live really far north, like our friends in Canada, might be a time for that. So it all depends on your location. This is kind of the deciduous equivalent of black pine decandling in terms of when we put a date on the calendar. It's one of the few things that we do that's triggered by a calendar date rather than reading the tree. But this calendar date's really important because we want to have on average about 2 months or 8 weeks before these trees go into dormancy, turn these beautiful fall colors, so that that new growth that might happen from the pruning, from the trimming, from the defoliating can lignify, set buds, and really harden off before the cold weather comes. So I hope you enjoyed this very important tip on when you can stop pruning your deciduous trees in the growing season. If you want to learn more tips like this, hit that like button at the bottom of your screen, subscribe to our channel so we can put all of this deciduous knowledge that's not really being talked about out there into the bonsai community. And if you really want to learn at an accelerated rate, feel free to sign up for our intensive program where I teach this concept and a lot of concepts to our students to have them practice the highest level deciduous bonsai art possible. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Andrew Robson. You have been watching RAKUYO's Deciduous Bonsai channel. I hope you can take this tip and apply it in your bonsai practice to have healthier, better, and more beautiful deciduous bonsai in your bonsai practice. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.